First of all, thank you everyone for joining us today. This is the second talk of a series, A Day in the Life of. And today we're going to peek into the day in the life of a data scientist with the amazing Sundas Khalid. Yay! My name is Antonetta Manko, and I am a co-founder of Bulgarian Women in Tech. I'm joined here today with Sundas, of course, and Sundas Khalid from PWiC, which is Pakistani Women in Tech. She is the chapter lead for Seattle. So we are all good and set up to go. I'm going to start off with Bulgarian Women in Tech. As I mentioned, my name is Antonetta, and I am a co-founder of Bulgarian Women in Tech, which is a nonprofit organization based off of Seattle, Washington. Our mission is to increase the impact of women in technology globally. And if I have to think of 3 areas that we really focus in, this is creating a community, helping you grow your career by learning new things, and helping you bring inspiring talks just like the one today, where you keep getting motivated until you get to your dream job. So we do a lot of different events. Some are more focused about career development, others are more focused around helping you stay motivated on your journey. And I would, by the way, just wanted to, a side note, say that we did leave a few links in the comments below of PWiC, Bulgarian Women in Tech, and Sundas. Please check them out for future events. We have some very, very interesting events coming up. We also do prioritize accessibility. So all of our events are free of charge. They are available for everyone to join from everywhere in the world currently, since they're all virtual, and we do encourage you to do so. We, of course, drive our objective by diversity and inclusion. So regardless of your nationality, ethnics, or your gender, you're more than welcome to join our events. We would love to hear all your stories regardless. So with that being said, I'm going to pass it off to Samia from PWiC for a quick intro of our organization.
Well, first of all, welcome everyone. We're so excited to have all of you and with Sundas today to tell us all about data science. And with that said, Pakistani Women in Computing is a community of women in technology that started in Seattle, but it's really from women from around the globe, and it's not just women from, but global allies as well. And the idea is really for, like, when they say empowered women empower women, we come together to collaborate, grow, share, and inspire each other and learn together as well, and create opportunities as well. So that our community really allows the women in tech to connect, learn, and grow. And of course, our events are not only exclusive for women. We are saying it's like a women-driven community, but it's open to everyone. So do check out our social media pages, and we have events related to career mentoring and also like entrepreneurship. There's tons of stuff all the time. So yeah, we'd love to have you on board as well, and won't take more time. So we all are waiting to hear all from Sundas. So let's move on.
Yes. For the people who know me, they know how excited I am about this event and how near and dear it is to my heart. And it's not just because I myself love the space of data science and I'm really, really curious about everything that's happening in that space, but because, of course, our speaker today, Sundas Khalid, is someone that I can truly call a friend. Sundas and I go back quite a bit, actually. We met at the Foster School of Business, where we both graduated from the University of Washington with a degree in information systems. And Sundas has been just someone that I have looked up to for years now. Her determination and motivation to always keep learning and just, follow through with her dreams and trying to learn something new, but also the passion that she has for allowing the community, sharing her experience and her knowledge with the community while she is striving to achieve her own career goals is so admirable, and something that I really, really I'm super thankful for, because I myself benefit from it as well with every talk that I have with her. Sundas is currently a senior analytical lead at Google. She's an ex-Amazonian. She used to work for Amazon for about 6 years as a data scientist. And although this already sounds grand, to really understand the gravity of her accomplishments, you need to go back to where she started. Sundas is a first-generation immigrant. She is the first female in her family to graduate with a college degree, let alone to pursue a career. She did all of this with such determination, and also while taking care of her two little kids and a husband, which is, I never was able to understand where she finds all the energy and motivation to just not just do her assignments at her job, but to do it at the best, the best possible way. Sundas today is a data wizard. She is a public speaker, as you can see. She is a trailblazer. She is a career coach. But more than anything, she is the living, breathing proof that you can too have it all. You can achieve your dreams as long as you keep on pushing and keep on following through and are persistent. So without further ado, I'll pass it out to Sundas for the main presentation. Thank you so much, Sundas, for doing this.
Thank you so much for such a generous introduction, Tony. I am going to cry right now. I feel like you made me emotional, so I don't know if I can continue with the presentation. Hold on, I'll be back. Okay, first of all, thank you so much. Thank you so much for organizing this, Bulgarian Women in Tech and Pakistani Women in Tech, Samia specifically, and Taneta. Thank you so much for all the work. I know it takes, because I was on the other side before, so I know how much work it takes to kind of organize an event and market it and make sure like everything is happening the way it's supposed to. So I'm really thankful to both of your organizations and both of you specifically for organizing this and for making this such a great turnout, and also like doing such a wonderful job doing my intro. I'm like so touched right now. If this was in person, I would have given you a hug. All right, so everybody, so I am high on caffeine, so please don't mind me like being animated. I like to talk. I'm very loud, so I can sometimes like speak way too fast than I'm supposed to. So like feel free to stop me, Tony, Samia. This is like your job. So today's topic is careers in data science, and specifically we want to focus on the day in life of a data scientist. So as Tony mentioned, my name is Sundas Khalid. And here is a little bit about me, which I think Tony covered most of it. So I currently work at Google as a senior analytical lead, where my work focuses on the main business for Google, which is the Google search and ads space. And I started about 7 months ago. So I consider myself still a new hire because halfway through my onboarding, the pandemic started. And so my onboarding was kind of interrupted. Which I did not anticipate. So I'm still learning, still trying to figure out my way at Google and how the whole data space works there. So previous to Google, I was working at Amazon. I was at Amazon for about 6 years. Half of my career at Amazon, I was a data engineer, and half of my career, I was a data scientist. One of my favorite teams at Amazon, so I worked in 2 different teams. My favorite teams at Amazon was WebLab, where I got to experience how a company at such a large scale runs experimentation like A/B testing, and also cares so deeply about the customer that every single data point is discussed before making any sort of decisions. So I'm really thankful for my experience at Amazon, learning in the data science space, and also getting to work with so many different teams like Alexa, video, music, checkout, gateway, like I can name all of them right now. That's like one of the best experience I've had. And I'm also very thankful to be here where I am today, working at Google, trying to like mark my way into like the data space here. So as Tony mentioned, that I graduated from University of Washington in 2014 from Foster School of Business. And that's another interesting story because I went to a business school, but I am currently working in the data science field. And most of my career journey has been like learning on my own and kind of paving my own path to the data science field. I was the class speaker at the graduation, where I gave like a graduation speech to about like 3,000 graduation class. So that's like a little bit about my history. As I said, Tony said, like I'm the first female in my family to graduate university and first female to actually pursue a career. And that's something that I'm personally very proud of, and something that doesn't show up on my resume, but I like to talk about it because I believe that that story is very empowering and it gives hope to a lot of people. Outside of my day job, I run a side business where I provide career coaching services. I know the URL is pretty small, but it's sundaskhalid.com/career-coaching. And I provide resume reviews. And this was something that I was doing for a long time period. I just started this business kind of like monetizing it because I enjoyed doing this space and I wanted to like start something of my own. So I do like resume reviews, interview prep, and like job search strategy, and you can look through the other services that I provide. One thing that I'm really, really passionate about, given that I'm the first female in my family to graduate university, I'm like brown, I'm from Pakistan. So when I started in my career, I didn't see many women leaders who looked like me, who also like struggled with English like I did, to be like in the leadership positions. So that was an area that immediately attracted me, and I wanted to like kind of like work more on like diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. So to serve that purpose, I currently serve on the boards of 2 nonprofits. One of them is Pakistani Women in Computing, which Samia did an introduction earlier. I serve on the board as a vice chair. And North Seattle College is the second nonprofit where I serve on the board as on the president's advisory board. And it's an interesting story because North Seattle College, it was a community college before. It's where I actually started my journey, where I was taking online classes for the first 2 years before transferring to University of Washington. And for me to give back to the community that way is kind of like a full circle for me. I'm also a facilitator for I Am Remarkable workshop. And if you have not heard of the initiative of I Am Remarkable, I highly recommend you to check it out. Just Google it. It basically is an initiative that encourages women and underrepresented community to talk about their accomplishments and their small wins. And if there is going more further outside of my day job and side job, and I like to public speak. That's the reason, one of the reasons I am here today, because I enjoy it. I like to blog. I write blogs on data science, lifestyle, on Medium, on microblogging on Instagram. I also like to build communities. And after this talk, if you want to connect with me, you can go to any of these social media channels and connect with me. All right, enough about me. So let's get into the agenda. So agenda for today is, the whole idea is to a day in life walkthrough. But I feel like it's important to understand the background, and especially for people who are just getting to learn about data science and who are just trying to figure out if this is the field for them. I think it's important to understand like why data science, why it's important, what it actually is. And then we can do like some of the challenges that this job family has, and then we can do like a quick walkthrough of what my actual day looks like. All right, so why data science? I'm gonna paint a bigger picture here right now and just tell you that data is the future, and data science is like a subset of it. So just to put things in perspective for you, there are 3.7 billion humans who are using the internet right now. So all those humans are actually generating the data. In 2020, 40 trillion gigabyte of data is generated, or is expected to be generated. And 90% of that data is created. So 90% of all data that exists on the internet is generated in the last 2 years. And only less than 1% of the data is actually analyzed today. So 99% of the data is not even touched or done any analysis on. So this is just to paint the picture for you, is that data is the future, and the job, which brings me to my second point, the job prospect. So, so this is another data point that I wanted to share, a quote from The Economist, which is the highly valued publication. It said that in 2019, The Economist claimed that the data replaced oil as the world's most valuable source. So that's just to give you another perspective, that there are a lot of people who are thinking about data. There's a lot of work that is going around data, and there is a lot of value that is being put on the data world itself and how it can be valuable to us, us as individuals and as well as organizations. All right, so let's go a little bit deeper. So what does it mean for you who is trying to get into data science job, or like, how does the data science job family or the job market looks like? just if I want to summarize it, I'll say data science job prospect is promising. 97% of the organizations are investing in big data and AI. And 2.3 million data science jobs are expected to be created in 2020 compared to 2015, where there were only 20,000 jobs. So 20,000 in 2015 and 2.3 million in 2020. So you can actually see the growth trend that we're seeing. And if you want to like deep dive further, this is a data point that I got from Indeed. And they basically show how the data science, the job families named data scientists, have grown over the years. So you can actually see like in January 11, 2011 is when it actually started to pick up. And over the last decade, it has only been growing. And the data that I presented to you today is only like telling us like it's only going to go even further. The trend, the upward trend that we're seeing here. All right, so if that's not convincing enough, let me tell you, there's a lot of money in data science. So what I did, there is a website called, which I like to use. It's called levels.fyi. So I just went on that website, and it basically hosts data of all big tech companies. So it's possibly not applicable to every company out there. So I basically said, give me the salaries of every new grad that started at like any of the big tech companies, and the average salary that I got is $108,000 annually to $250,000 annually, and that is a lot of money. So this is again, like this is new grad salary just limited to the greater Seattle area. This number would obviously vary if we look at different state, different city, and obviously like if we go different niches of data science itself. And like talking about data science niches, I actually have a slide on it, so let's jump on that. So what is data science? I Googled it, what is data science? And this is the definition I got. So I'll take a minute and let you read through it, or I can read it for you. Data science is a study of data. It involves developing methods of recording, storing, analyzing data to effectively extract useful information. The goal of data science is to gain insights and knowledge from any type of data, both structured and unstructured. So raise your hand if you understood this. Or if you now know like 100% what data science is. Okay, so this definition is very high level and it can be confusing. I think people who are already working in the industry, they can kind of figure it out. But people who are outside the industry or people who are new to the field, they kind of have struggled with understanding this definition. So let me simplify it for you. So data science, you can think of it like data science is like multiple domains. So the blue domain that we see here is computer science. Then we have math and statistics. Then we have like business and domain expertise, the business knowledge. And then we have like this really cool Venn diagram, and there's this intersection, which is basically data science. And that what it means is that a data science job family basically is, your expectation is to kind of like cover all these areas, all these circles, and kind of like apply your knowledge from different domains. Now, you could be like a data scientist could be somewhere right here, like right in the middle, where they kind of are supposed to know everything. Or they could be like more on the analytics side, where most of their job covers this part of it. Or they could be here, or they could be like very focused on machine learning or statistics. Again, like data science is a very vast job family. It's a umbrella term, and then there are multiple job families under it. And I'm going to share a few of the job families that fall into the data science umbrella. So number one is the data science generalist. So the reason I call it as a generalist is how we saw on the Venn diagram. So this is basically the person in the middle who is supposed to know everything. And I call it the generalist because this is like one of the most common job descriptions for a data scientist role. But then there are like machine learning scientists, there is AI scientists, there is statistician, applied scientists, data analyst, data and analytics manager. data engineer, and many more. So again, like there are so many options like within the data science field, depending on your interest, depending on your areas of expertise, you can be in any of the job families. All right, so let's dive into skills. And I know like this slide is very tiny, so hopefully you can see it. If not, I'll just walk you through. So let's dive into like the generalist data science, because we cannot do every job family. So let's focus on the generalist data science skill. So I divided it into two types of skills. One is technical skills and the other is soft skills. So for technical skills, over like 50% of 70, I was quoting a percentage, which I don't remember, but from what I remember, it's over 50% of the people who work in the data science generalist are using these languages on their day-to-day basis: Python, R, and SQL. And then in terms of the knowledge that they apply, it's either statistics, machine learning, or both. So from the technical skill standpoint, like if you have like these skills, I think you cover like the basic requirement for becoming a data scientist. Now let's get to the soft skills part. The soft skills, I have more skills there because soft skills are very, very important for a data science job family. And I'll tell you why. Number one, I have communication and people skills. So you can be a good data scientist, but you're only a great data scientist if you have good communication skills. You can build all the fancy models, but if you cannot communicate to the business, or you cannot communicate to the leaders, or people are not buying into the model that you built, or whatever you're proposing, your work is kind of it's not going to be applied, it's not going to be productionized. So the other soft skill that I mentioned here is strong desire to learn and self-starter. And the reason I mentioned this is because data science job family is ever evolving. A lot of the times my work means that I have to define my own problem and I have to solve it myself. And that's why there is this curiosity to learn and self-starter, where you kind of have to, if you have to learn something to apply, you are willing to do that. So it's important to have that kind of mindset where you are willing to learn new things and evolve as the industry evolves. And you're also like doing it on your own. It's like, you don't have to like, somebody doesn't have to like keep telling you to do certain things. You have to do it on your own. And obviously the last thing is very, very important, is the business knowledge. Data scientists are one of the few people who interact with both technical teams as well as non-technical teams. So the better understanding you have of the business, the more educated you can be about the work that you either recommend or do. Because if you have a good data understanding, having the data is one thing, but if you don't understand what each data column means, or why this is important to business, or why this is not important to business. So that's why I mentioned like business knowledge is very important to have. And if you don't have it, like spend your time and like figure it out, like talk to the business people, understand what is their problem, what are they trying to solve. Because at the end of the day, you want to do the work, but your job is to move the needle for the business, whatever work you do. So if you understand what the problem is that the business is trying to solve, the more likely you will be able to build models and do work that is actually moving the needle for the business. All right, so I'm talking too fast. Please post your questions in the comments and I'll address them as we go. Let's see. Okay, so let's continue on the technical skills. Now, as I mentioned, like within the data science job family, the data science is an umbrella term, and then there are multiple job families under it. Now, the depth of skills and the knowledge that you would need for each job family would be different. Now, this is just to give you an example. For example, if we're talking about, let's say, machine learning, for a data analyst role, you possibly don't need that much information, and it's not that important. But for a machine learning engineer, that's basically their job, so they have to know it. Again, for a data engineer role, you don't need to know that much machine learning, but then we come to like a data scientist generalist. You need to know machine learning and you need to know how to be able to apply to this. So you can look through, like, you can like Google it on your own as well, but just to give you an idea of why different skill sets are more important to one job family versus the other, because there is no way one person can know everything. And so that's why, but if you see at the data science job family, like this column here. Remember how I showed you the Venn diagram? And I said, like, you're supposed to know everything. So out of all the job families that are here, data scientists are pretty much supposed to know everything, but at the high level. They don't go too much into depth, but they should know enough to be able to apply it to their work and be able to, whether that is like doing a data engineering work or like a machine learning or like some simple data analysis, they're kind of like an all-rounder who are able to kind of apply their vast knowledge to a business problem and solve it. All right. So what does a typical data science project lifecycle looks like? Again, like I feel like this is too small. The letters are too small, so I'll read it. So number one is, again, like understanding the business knowledge, the problem that you're trying to solve. So most of the times when you get a project, it will be like, okay, this business will come to you. They're like, this is the problem that we're having, or we're trying to find insights, or we launched a product, we're trying to understand what the issue is, or how the users are liking it. That would be your problem definition that you're trying to solve. So you will always start from that. And the second step would be, and like in number one step, you will be asking questions to the business team and whoever is your customer is, like the final end user of your work. The second is like the data gathering, cleaning, and exploratory analysis. So once you understand the problem, once you know what you're trying to solve, the second part would be like you will start collecting data, you'll start cleaning the data, and you'll start like doing some exploratory analysis with the data itself to try to figure out what are the trends that you are seeing. And the third part is doing the analysis, building the model, whether that is machine learning, statistics, or whatever, you have decided that is the right approach to solve the problem. So that will be your number three. And your number four would be going back to the business user or your person who is the user of this model or your customer, and presenting and communicating to your end user. And that's, again, number one and number four. If you look at this, involves communication and business skills, and your core technical skills come into play in number two and number three. So that's why like having the good knowledge of soft skills, like having good soft skills as well as like good technical skills, become very, very important for this role. So I talked about a lot of nice things about data science. Let me tell you like some challenges. It's considered to be one of the sexiest jobs out there, but let me tell you, it's not that sexy, because 80%, on average, 80% of the time, data scientists spend their time in the initial first two stages, where they're kind of like trying to either clean the data, gather the data, and trying to figure out what they want to do with it. So my number one, like I am saying but it's actually a general application, lack of standardization. So what I mean here is that data science is a new job family. There are so many job families under it. And when we compare it to, let's say, software development roles or any other like well-established role, like say financial analyst, the job family, for example, a data science generalist, is not standardized across different companies and across different industries. And one example I would like to give here is like if you look at Amazon versus Facebook data scientists. So Amazon data scientists would be the Venn diagram where I showed you, where that person would fit, data scientist would fit right in the middle. They're supposed to know everything and be able to apply everything. Now, Facebook data scientist is more focused on the analysis side of it, and more like product analytics. And it's I would describe it like a product manager times data scientist role. So again, like this is just like I'm giving examples of two of the very big companies that are out there, and this is a similar trend across different companies and different industries, that it will be very hard to find a standardization. And I personally, when I was looking for a job, I personally kind of suffered from this, because I had to, on top of like looking for jobs, I had to actually read through the descriptions and figure out like where my skills could be applied, and what do they actually mean when they say like they're looking for a data scientist. And the second thing is career path limitations. I mentioned this because, again, like data science is a new job family, and just like how it's not standardized, there's a lack of standardization. There's not well-defined career path, and again, like companies are making strides to move toward like defining the career path. For example, I think Amazon went through rigor, like a year-long rigor, where they were trying to define the data science job family itself and trying to like evaluate each person, like what they're doing and what they're not doing. So and how they can like grow each people who are data scientists into the next level and the next level and next level. So this is, again, like this is a space that is evolving. It's not there yet in terms of like career paths. So there are some limitations that you should keep in mind. And also one thing that I have personally noticed is that a lot of the time the manager role would be either given to a data scientist, would either be reporting to a software developer manager. Data science managers or data analytics manager are not as common as like a software developer manager, because a lot of the time a data scientist would be integrated into an engineering team. So an engineering team would normally have a manager who is a software developer manager. So that is something to keep in mind. And that makes it, so the self-starter and learner kind of like aspect plays into this here as well, because you kind of have to pave your own path and you have to like push people around you and be more vocal about like your own career goals and your own career like journey. And this, I forgot to read about this, but this is basically a study was done by BCG in 2020. They basically surveyed data and wanted to ask if the students understand day-to-day activities of a data scientist, and 70% of the students said that they do not understand the data science field. Again, like I think that's why we're having this conversation, because it could be a very vague space, especially for people who are new, and especially like students who haven't worked in the industry to fully understand what it actually means. So now get to the main part, which is a day in life of a data scientist. So the reason I didn't spend too much time on this, because there is a lot of context in the background, and I felt like I needed to kind of like untangle that for you before I talk about like what a day my actual day looks like at work. So this is my very, very busy calendar, and that's because I like to block my calendar, and I like to know what I'm doing at each hour of my day at work. So in the morning, you will see, and like I talked about the data science project lifecycle, and depending on like what project I'm working on or what lifecycle I'm part of, so my day could look very different. It could be like me just talking to business people, or it could be me just like working on like coding something and like building a model and doing something, or it could be just like writing a document and presenting my work. So my day could look very different on different days or different weeks. So it goes like in waves. And that's why it's called sexy, because you are always doing something different. Okay, so let's jump into my calendar. So I typically start my day around 8:30 a.m. And before that, I have DNS. DNS is basically do not disturb. I like to do my own things in the morning, whether that is working out or getting breakfast. So I don't want to be part of any meetings during that time. Around 8:30, I'll log in. Now that we're all working from home, I'll log in, come to my desk. I'll log into work and check emails and make a list of all the to-dos that I need to finish on that day. Then this is an example where I'll have a meeting with the business team, where let's say if they're coming to me for a project, I'll ask them like, what are the data needs? What are the problems that you're trying to solve? And kind of like help them and like ask them questions back and kind of like help them define the problem, as well as like answer questions from my side. Okay, this is possible, this is not possible. Okay, no, but you should look at it this way, or you should look at it differently. And then again, one more thing I want to mention, I color code my calendar. The reason I do that, because then I can visualize it, how much time I'm spending in meetings, how much time I'm spending like doing things on my computer, heads down. And the purple is like when I try to take breaks in between. And this day is very busy, so I didn't take that many breaks, but I typically take more breaks than this. So the next is like 10 a.m. It would be like hands-on work where I'll be writing code and writing scripts to kind of like pull the data, or if I have already pulled the data, if I already have the data, then I'll try to figure out what to do with it. Then I take a break at 11 a.m. 11:30, I'll start working again, where I have like a 50 minutes of dedicated focused work time where there's like no distractions or anything like that. Then I'll take another break, because it's when I'm doing a hands-on work, it's important for me to take the break. So that's why I have my breaks around that time period. Then I'll have like a client meeting or like a partner meeting or like an internal meeting with my team. So that will be 1 to 2 p.m. And then let's say it's 2:30 p.m. and now I have to write a document of what I have worked on, or I have to kind of like, if I am on the last stage of my project, then I'll be writing a document to kind of like synthesize my analysis and the work that I've done, so I can present it to the business team or anybody else who is the end user of that work that I did. And the last thing I do is I take this is another break from 3:30 to 4, and then I'll end the day with like checking my emails and doing anything and planning for my next day, like what I need to do tomorrow and stuff. So again, like this is a very general day breakdown, but if you were to like take an average, this is what my typical day would look like. And again, like I log off work at 4:30, and I have like at 4:30, I have like DNS with do not disturb, do not set up time with me, because that's my end of work day. Awesome, cool. So now that I've convinced you to become a data scientist, you must be wondering, like, what are the options? What are the paths to becoming a data scientist? There are many options. Again, this is a new job family, so a lot of like the institutes have not, they have been trying, but not a lot of them have picked up at the speed that the job family is growing. So you will see like currently many data scientists who are working in the field. You'll actually see those people are like from different fields. And there are people like me who have kind of like built their own path and kind of like learn on their own, stuff like that. So right now there's like a variety of people with different backgrounds who are working in data science field as a data scientist. So I narrowed down 3 paths. One is accredited degree program where you basically enroll in a university and you take the data science, master's in data science or BS in data science, and you basically graduate with that data science degree. The second option, which is very popular these days, is the guided online courses and boot camps and certificates. Now I combined all of them into one. Boot camps and online, like taking certificates, there's 2 different things. Boot camps is basically a 12-week or an 8-week rigorous program where you basically are spending a lot of your time learning everything super fast. And then online courses, I think online courses are offered either as like a boot camp where they cover pretty much everything, or it's like course by course basis, or it's like certificate programs where you can take this course and get a certificate at the end. This again is a very popular option right now. If you go on LinkedIn and if you look up data scientists and you look at like their past, like how they build their career path, you will see a lot of people have listed certificates and online courses in their LinkedIn profiles. And you can also see, like, you can also like connect the dots, and you can see like how one taking that specific course helped them land a job or help them attract a company and stuff like that. And last, which is kind of what I did, is self-teach through online and offline courses. And for me, I think it was more than that, because I transitioned to a data science team where I was exposed to the work that science work that the team was doing. So I got like good exposure of like actual day-to-day work. And then I was given projects to kind of like learn while I'm doing it. So, and I also had like code repositories and papers of my teammates who I can read through and kind of like learn on my own pace. And so that's how I transitioned, is I basically learned on the job. And also my manager recommended me a bunch of books. I read those books. I tried taking courses. I couldn't finish all the online courses, but for me, I think coming from Amazon, I think people who are at Amazon, they would know that like doing on the job is like an Amazon thing. And I think I got so much engrossed in that kind of like area that now this is like my favorite way to learn, is like doing on the job. Okay. So we have like 15 minutes. I'll try to rush through it. Resources, please take a screenshot. There are so many resources out there. These are some of my favorites and some of my personally what I have used. in terms of like online courses, books. Some of these books were recommended to me by my manager, who was a data science manager at Amazon at that time. And then like coding and data sets, there are so many options out there. Some of my favorites is like Kaggle for like getting the data sets. HackerRank is what I use for like practicing Python and SQL when I was like preparing for interviews. Analytics with AI is what I've learned recently, is more focused on like the analytics space. And I think I have HackerRank listed twice because I love it so much. There's again LeetCode, which has like more coding prep interview. I think LeetCode recently added data science coding preparation recently. When I was preparing a couple of years ago, they did not have it. So LeetCode is very popular among people interviewing at like the big tech companies. Awesome. So I write a lot of blogs on data science. Some of the blogs I've written is like nailing your data science interview, defining the data science job family itself. You can read more blogs at sundaskhalid.com/blog. I'll move forward, and that was my presentation. Thank you so much for listening. If you have questions, please go ahead and ask them. If you want to connect with me on either of these social media channels, please go ahead and do it. And thank you so much for listening to me. Hope this was useful for you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much, Sundas. You guys, please make sure you leave your questions in the chat section. To kick it off, I'm gonna go with the first question. So you mentioned that while you were at Amazon, you really enjoyed the fact that you could learn on the job. But what were some of the challenges that you encountered while trying to learn on the job while, maintaining your regular job and so forth? Like finding the balance.
I think there was this time period where I was under the pressure that I have to learn and deliver, because I was given like data science projects. So I had like a lot of like pressure in my mind that I have to do this. I have to kind of prove myself, because whatever I do is gonna end up in my performance review end of the year. So that effect that it could have on my like long term, it was bigger. So I think for me, just having that pressure that, okay, now I have put myself in the place where I told them like I'm gonna do this, and now I have to do this. And I think it was hard too, because like learning and not being able to deliver, and like taking the time to learn also when you're like working full time, then I think it's mostly like in your mind is like, okay, what am I doing? What am I doing here? Like, why are they paying me money? Are they just paying me money to like learn stuff? So I think most of it was that, and also like just the time aspect of it, because I had to do a lot of reading and learning on my own outside of work as well. So that took like my time with family and other activities that I could be doing.
Question is, does a data analyst position lead to a data scientist job most of the time? Do you have any tips for someone who would like to go from data analysis to data scientist?
Yes, I definitely have tips. So to answer your first question, it's very common for a data analyst to transition to a data science role, especially if you're already working in the industry. Many of the data scientists, I think at Amazon, like specifically, you would see many of the data scientists that are working there currently were previously a data analyst. And Amazon uses the term for them is, Amazon doesn't have like a data analyst job family, but they call it business intelligence engineer. And you would see like a lot of the data scientists were previously a business intelligence engineer. So it is +1 that is just possible. The second question is like, what are some tips? I think my number one tips is what worked for me. If you can put yourself in an environment where you will be exposed to the science work, I think that's like one of the easiest way to get the exposure and get the learning going. Because when you're working with like scientists or people who are data scientists who are already doing the work, you can actually observe them. You can see like what is the day-to-day work that they're doing, and you can always like ask them questions. So that like more like from the exposure standpoint. Then the other thing is like talk to your manager, figure out a plan. If that's your career goal that you want to pursue, then figure out a plan with your manager. Like, what are the projects that you need to work on for you to get from a data analyst to like a transition to a data scientist role.
Okay. Thank you. So next question is, how does the requirements gathering get overlapped with BAs? Do you collaborate with business analysts as a data scientist?
I think they overlap. They overlap, except I will give my example. So at Google, I have not seen a business analyst. I have seen financial analyst. But when I was at Amazon, my work did not overlap with the business analyst. There were times when we like coordinated work, or like when we were working on a specific project, but most of the times we would be working on separate work. The reason is because data analysts or a business analyst would gather the requirement and either use Excel or SQL to do the analysis and create a presentation or visualization. Data scientist does a little bit more technical work, where it's not like a simple problem as like solving it in Excel or in a visualization. It takes more like application of like machine learning or statistics, and that's why those fields are separate. In terms of like the work that they do is kind of separate, and also like a business analyst is not like part of a data scientist job, because like the data scientist is supposed to do their own data gathering and kind of like figure out their own problem.
Okay, just a quick insert here, I guess. When people say business analyst, it can be a little confusing or deceiving, I guess, because there are so many, like business analyst by itself, and that's obviously a different discussion, but it has such a wide realm of skills and just overall, like the job family is all over the place, just in the industry. So I'm assuming that Anna, who asked this question, was referring more so to kind of data analysts. Business analysts are a little more technical.
I'll just add one thing here, that guys, please also look at for example, as Sundas mentioned, that at Amazon versus Google, there is a difference. So look at the company specifically, because people use these terms interchangeably, because in one company, business analyst might mean a different thing, data analyst than in another. So do read those job descriptions and see what kind of roles they have.
Yeah, absolutely. So this next question for you, we have quite a few questions actually. So next question says, you define different roles in the data science field. Where do your current role fall into?
So my role is more, right now it's a mix of, there would be day where I'm doing like a data science work. There would be day where I'm doing like a data analysis work. There will be days when I'm doing like more like business work. So the reason I decided to join this analytical role at Google specifically, because I was a little bit frustrated with the data science job family at Amazon. Because there was not a lot of clarity in terms of like how the career growth perspective and stuff like that. And there were like so many other scientist roles there as well. So I wanted to find a role which would kind of is built on my strengths. So I ended up like taking this role because it combines all of the areas, as well as it has like a big product and business focus as well. So I kind of like can use my expertise and my like build on top of my strengths.
And I'll do a quick follow up on the job at Google. Someone was interested in more specific things that you do at Google, which obviously we can't share for confidentiality reasons, but how much of it is machine learning versus statistics?
Depend on which role you're talking about, because a data scientist at Google is a PhD. Most like the job families that I have seen, you can think of it like a combination of machine learning and statistician kind of role. So it's very ML heavy, and most like Google is a little bit more stringent on how and who they hire for a data scientist title. Which most of the times is like a PhD is a requirement, neither machine learning or statistics.
Thank you. Next question is, thank you so much, Sundas. My question is about whether you'd suggest a first-year student focus on data science specifically, or is it a better idea if you've got some experience in sales, tech support, and then smoothly transfer to data science, starting from an analytics position and so?
Okay, so could you repeat the first part of their question? They're asking if they're first-year student, then what should they
specifically, or gain more, like gain industry experience in various other fields and areas, and then focus on data science?
So if they have already not explored what are the different job families that are out there, I think definitely like spend your time exploring it before deciding like data science is the one. One thing I would like to add here is that a lot of the times people reach out to me and ask me like they are doing like a computer science degree and should they drop that major altogether and like take data science, like pursue like data science specifically. And then my question back to them is like, what exactly is data science? Because it's not very well defined. And if you are like currently enrolled in a computer science degree program, please do not drop out of it to pursue a completely data science focused major. What I would recommend you is like continue with your computer science program, but take courses, courses in machine learning, in statistics, and then if you can like build on top of it, like if you already have the foundation of like technical skills, you are a better scientist. You are a better, you are more marketable from the job perspective itself, because now you have like CS attached to it, and CS attached to your name, and computer science attached to data science attached to your name. So that makes you a more well-versed scientist. So please do not drop out of your CS degrees. And also to the person who is asking, please pursue other options, what else is out there, and then like make an educated decision if data science is where you see yourself after graduating.
A tag along, I guess, to the question of whether you collaborate with data analysts and business analysts. Do you collaborate often with data scientists?
Me personally?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, all the time.
Okay.
So simple.
Very interesting question. What are the chances of landing an interview with self-learning and online courses? How do you prove that you know stuff? And there was another question about if you have any advice on how to build a project portfolio to get hired when you're transitioning from another field. I think these two kind of correlate or relate to each other.
Yeah, I think for the, actually, this is a great question. Somebody asked me yesterday as well, like how, because they're learning on their own and they don't have a lot of industry experience. So how do they show it to the interviewers or the companies that they have the experience? So my recommendation here is apply your knowledge, pick up a project that you can do on your own time, and do that project, make it like a data science project, do that project, apply the skills that you learned from your online courses or your offline learnings, and put it in your resume and show the work that you did. That's like one of the best ways for you to kind of like highlight your work that you have done, like the learnings that you have done from online and offline courses. Now, in terms of like highlighting your, like building your data science portfolio, I would say there are 5 things. Let's see if I can remember. The data cleaning is like one big aspect of it. Exploratory data analysis is another one. Statistics and machine learning is another one, and like having a good communication. So if I think I did that 4, I'm forgetting the 5th one. I actually wrote a blog on this, so if you want to read more, you can read on my blog. But these are the things that a data scientist does from day to day. So if you're building your portfolio, make sure like you're in your work, when you're showing in your resume that you have a data science portfolio, make sure you're like highlighting all these 4 or 5 areas that I called out. Because that's how the people would know that you can actually perform the day-to-day job of a data scientist.
So with the emergence of auto ML and auto automated tools, is data scientist still going to be a hot job in the future? How are such tools going to affect the data science job market?
Very controversial question. You're kind of like picking on my job family. No. So I think there will be automation. Yeah, of course, there will be automation. And that's why I said like data science job family is ever evolving, and there will be like new trends. So you cannot be stagnant with what you know and you stop learning with what you know today. No, that's not going to work. You have to evolve with the industry. And if there's like new things that are coming out, you have to like learn those. But in terms of like if data science job family is going to exist or not, I think that's a very absurd question. Like, of course, data science job family is going to exist. Because as I mentioned earlier, less than 1% of the data is analyzed today, and there is so much opportunity that is out there, and businesses and organizations are just starting to realize now the value of the data science field, and a lot of them have to start like from the very basics. you hire a data analyst, you hire a data scientist, you hire a machine learning scientist, then you kind of like build your like data science team. So I don't think it's going away, but that's again like my personal opinion, and I think that's what you were looking for.
And a final question, which helps tie everything together really, is what inspired you to pursue a career in data science?
What inspired me? So I actually accidentally discovered it. There are two things. One is, so I interned at Amazon, and I think my internship kind of helped me figure out that I want to do data science. I was working as a financial analyst intern when I started at Amazon. So my internship was 8 months long. So I got a good exposure of like the different job family at Amazon. And the data science job family did not exist back then. So I used to work with business intelligence engineer that time. And one thing I noticed is that he would leave for home at like 3 p.m. And I was like, wow, that is amazing. How can you just leave? And like he will be working from home and he will be like doing things on his own, and like people won't bother him compared to what I was doing. So that was like, I know that's not a great reason that you're looking for, but like that was a big attraction factor for me because I had 2 kids at home. And so I thought like, would be great to like have a good work-life balance. And also I took like a bunch of courses in data science when I was in school. So that kind of gave me flavor of what data science is. And it was definitely like, it stood out like as one of my interest areas. Then I started again, like data science job family did not exist. So I started as a data engineer, and I realized that like a lot of the times I'll be like building data pipelines and I'll be giving data to somebody else who will do the analysis on the data and like do whatever the fancy work on top of the data, and then they will go present it. And my name was kind of lost somewhere in the middle when it comes to like the final presentation. And I just felt like something was missing and I did not like it. So I got exposed to like doing like more data analytics project, and that's when I decided to like switch teams and focus more on like data science. And after switching the teams, I got way more exposure to like the data science work, and I ended up eventually transitioning. And I've been here like in the data science industry for like about 4 years. And I would say I'm not planning to leave because the more I do it, the more I love it, because the job is so versatile and my day could look very different from one kid to another. So I feel like I do not get bored. And also I like the aspect that the work is like project based. So I can like move from one project to another project, and I don't have to do the same thing or look at the same thing again and again and again.
We got another question. Let's just maybe address it real quick. And after that, oh, sorry, Samia, go ahead.
I wanted to say that here, Sundas, I love the straightforward and raw answer instead of saying I was inspired because I wanted to change the world.
No,
I do have to
I just wanted to go home early.
I do have to say that data science usually, I feel like some people tend to overcomplicate what data science is and like all the answers and all the questions with all the technical talk. So certainly you just make it so easily to understand and accessible to everyone, which is really valuable for anyone who wants to break into data science. But we got a couple more questions. I wonder if we should just ask people to reach out to you directly, or you would prefer to answer them right now. It's up to you.
They can reach out to me, but I think if I answer them right now, then a larger audience can hear it.
Okay,
so let's try that.
Sounds good. So the first question is, does data scientists need to solve algorithms for an interview at Google, just like the engineering roles?
I don't know how to answer this question
without giving too much inside information.
So I think I will answer it like more generally. For a data scientist role, you're not supposed to solve algorithms. You're obviously supposed to understand the logic. You're obviously supposed to understand how to apply the machine learning and statistics knowledge. And you need to be able to show that in your interview. But in terms of like when we're talking about like software developer algorithm, like software developer interviews where they are asked to solve for algorithms, I wouldn't say like it's not that. So it's more focused on like the scripting and application of your science knowledge.
Okay, and final question. Let's get at that. Is which tools you use quite often on the job?
So right now I use most of the internal tools that are built by Google. Before I used to use most of the internal tools built by Amazon. So I can tell you, like, in terms of the languages that I use, like I work with SQL and Python on day-to-day basis, and R if I feel like it. I used to work with Scala a little bit when I was at Amazon. But again, like the tools that you use is going to vary by the company and like the job family that you are in. So I think a lot of the people spend their time focusing on like learning about the tools. It's great to learn about the one tool, but you should also know that like your job could look and the tools could look very different if you were to like go to a different company or a different team itself, if we're talking about like a large organization. So don't focus on the tools so much, but focus on the core skills that you're supposed to know.
That's really great advice. I think we're going to end here with the questions and the presentation. Again, thank you so much, Sundas, for doing this. It was, as I mentioned earlier, a presentation where someone coming from non-data science background can so easily understand that, and which made it really accessible to everyone and really inspirational and motivational for people who are interested in it to go and learn and maybe explore potentially a career in the field. Thank you so much again.
Awesome. Thank you so much for organizing.
And we're getting a lot of thank yous.
Knowledge. So thank you for taking the time out to share all this.
Yeah. By the way, Samia and Antonetta are both in the data science field. Please bombard them with questions too. So I gave this presentation, but they are also in the field. So just throwing it out there.
Thanks. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. It's Friday, so I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and a even better weekend. Try to take it easy and relax. We all need it nowadays, especially. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Thank you so much.